right, welcome everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm so excited you decided to join us this evening. My name is Dr. Staci Holweger, and I am excited to share the information with you tonight on X39, the stem cell activation patch, and the other patches as well with Lifewave. Before I get started, I do want to share with you that I am a doctor of integrative medicine and functional medicine. I am not a medical doctor, and I'm also not your doctor. So if you have any questions regarding your health, your situation, what's going on with you, please check with your healthcare practitioner or your doctor for questions in specific with you. The information that I'm sharing tonight is for informational purposes only. It's not intended to prevent or treat or cure or diagnose anything. And I know you're going to be asking me questions in a little bit. I love this part of it. Honestly, being able to answer questions live time is really fun. You never know what you're going to get. Every single week, it's something different. But I want you to understand that I can't speak specifically to any diseases or disorders or syndromes because the information that we're sharing tonight, it will be based on clinical studies, but know that this clinical studies with Lifewave look at the organs and the systems of the body, the functionality of the body. So definitely not looking at any type of diseases. We do not have any studies on any diseases, and we won't for obvious reasons. We would claim to treat and cure those, and so we're not going to do that. This technology is FDA cleared in the general wellness sector of phototherapy. So feel free, again, you can see all that information on our site. I'll be sharing here in just a little bit, along with the clinical studies and the patents. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about this science, this tech, what this is, how it works, and how it can help you and others that you know as well too. So the patch that we're going to talk about tonight is a non-transdermal patch. Non-transdermal means nothing is entering the body. You're familiar with a patch like a pain patch, a birth control patch, a nicotine patch, patches that put a chemical or a substance into the body. That's very common. We're used to those. Well, this is different. This is actually a wearable light technology. And so when I say light, think of light therapy, think of red light therapy or blue light therapy, think of infrared saunas, think of wavelengths of light that enter the body. You don't feel them or see them entering, but they do. And they cause change inside of the body. That's called photobiomodulation. And that's the technology we're working with here with the X39 stem cell activation patch and the other patches that David Schmidt has invented. So phototherapy or photobiomodulation, it means light causes change. Now, with the patch, we don't need an outside light source. We don't need a laser or, a red light bed to lay in, even a sauna. I have an infrared sauna in my gym and I love it. I sit in it all the time. I push a button and a specific wavelength of light will come out. Don't see it, don't feel it, but it works on anti-aging. I'll push a different button and it'll say cardio. And so specific wavelengths of light come out that are elevating my heart rate to give me a cardiovascular exercise while I'm sitting there. So wavelengths of light are creating change in the body. But this is different in that it works with our body's own light. I don't know if you know this or not, but we emit light, a low-level infrared light. Now, how do we know that? Well, like I mentioned, I live here in Florida and it's getting dark outside. The sun is starting to come down. It's kind of dusk out. And so once that sun comes down here within the next hour of this call, I would not be able to go outside and see my neighbors or the animals outside unless I were looking through night vision goggles. If I look through night vision goggles, then I would be able to see the people or the animals in the outline of them in colors because of the heat or light that the body is emitting. And so it'd be blue, red, yellow, green, whatever that may be. And that is the light that this technology works with. It's not a light you can see, okay? But we emit that low-level infrared light. You can see it if you look through those goggles. So when you apply the patch to your body's light is actually going to reflect back off of this white part. I'm going to talk to you about what's in there in just a second, but it's going to reflect back into your body in a very specific wavelength that's proven scientifically to elevate a peptide in your body. So there's a website. I know somebody's going to put this in the chat for you. It's reverseagingwithghk.com. And this peptide that is elevated from this patch is called GHK-cu. It's copper peptide, and it is the holy grail of anti-aging. If you go to Reverse Aging with GHK, thank you, Laura, you are going to see over 50 years of clinical studies and research from a Dr. Lauren Picard. Now, he has nothing to do with Lifewave or this patch or anything else. He actually found it, like literally discovered GHK. And that is a peptide in our body. Peptides are chains of proteins, amino acids, which are the building blocks of the body. He discovered over 50 years ago. So he's done all these studies, everything A to Z you can ever imagine in your health. And that is where David Schmidt, the inventor of our tech, started his research over 15 years ago in trying to figure out how to elevate that peptide, but elevate it with light, with the body's own light. So you put the patch on. We're actually going to put it on in the morning. We want to put it on when you wake up in the morning when you brush your teeth. You want to leave it on 12 hours and take it off at night when you brush your teeth. So put your patches on your bathroom counter so that way you know on daytime, off nighttime. So we elevate that peptide. That's what's happening immediately when you put the patch on. It's immediately elevating GHK-cu copper peptide. And you'll see on that site all the benefits of that. But what happens is one of the most amazing benefits of GHK is it actually resets a third of our genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. Think in utero, perfect, right? Nothing wrong with you whatsoever. Everything is perfect. So resetting a third of the genes. One of those genes is responsible for mobilizing stem cells. Your stem cells. Elevating your stem cells, activating your stem cells, getting them back to do what they did when you were young, okay? So we know we have an abundance of stem cells when we're young. That's why kids have boundless amounts of energy. They go, 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 and then poof, they just drop like that and sleep like a baby. Doesn't matter if they're in a crowded room, they're out. When they're out, they're out. They have super amounts of energy, right? They can go, go, go all day long. They never miss a beat. If they fall off their bike or fall out of a tree, their body heals super fast. We don't see 5-year-olds with heart disease or 10-year-olds with back pain or 12-year-olds with gray hair. It just doesn't happen, right? Kids are young. They're youthful. Well, what happens as we age, our body has less and less stem cells that are active. They're there, they're just dormant. They get tired, they get wore out. And by the time you're in your 30s, if that's any of you on here tonight, you have about half of your stem cells that are active. The rest are there, they're just dormant. By the time you're in your 30s or half, by the time in your 60s, it's less than 10% of your stem cells that are active. So think about that. 90% of your body's ability to repair and regenerate itself is gone by the time you're in your 60s. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for your energy level? What does that mean for your sleep, for your physical recovery or energy, your mental energy and clarity and focus and concentration? What does that mean for your wound healing? For breaks and sprains and cuts and surgeries? What does that mean for your recovery time, for your quality of life? Well, it means that it's probably going to be diminished quite a bit from when you were younger, when you have an abundance of stem cells. So you put this patch on right away, it elevates that peptide. That peptide is responsible for mobilizing your own stem cells, right? By activating those genes. And so your stem cells go to work immediately. And over time, I'm going to talk to you about the compound effect to repair and regenerate your body in whatever order you need. So here's the thing about this. This is not a stem cell injection. I've spent over 20 years doing research and utilizing different types of stem cell therapy. I banked both of my kids' cord blood before that was a thing over 20 years ago. I did over 10 years of different types of stem cell therapy with my daughter in and out of the country. So I'm very familiar with the types of stem cell therapies that are out there. Very invasive. A lot of them are. Some of them are very controversial. Some of them could have side effects or contraindications. Some of them could not even work at all. right? There's always that chance. And then not to mention the super, super pricey price tag that is attached to any type of stem cell therapy. I mean, 22 years ago, it was $2,500 to bank my children's cord blood per child, not to mention the $100 fee for storing it on a continuous basis in a cryo facility. So that was all those years ago, not to mention the hundreds of thousands of dollars we spent on different types of stem cell therapy in and out of the country after my daughter had suffered a brain injury from being in the hospital for a year with a lot of complications when she was 4. She spent 15 years in a wheelchair. So a big part of her wellness protocol and all the things we did holistic, a big part of it was utilizing different stem cell therapies, because stem cells are the holy grail of healing. They are. Those are the cells that are what are called pluripotent. Stem cells have the ability to turn into any cell, any tissue, any organ, whatever the body needs. The body knows how to heal itself. If you cut your finger or break your wrist, break your bone, it's not the Band-Aid or the cast that heals the body, it's the body. And it does that really well when it's younger. But like I said, as you age, that ability declines. And so your body's ability to repair and regenerate declines as well too. So this is not a stem cell injection or a therapy that points to one specific location. So when I talk about this, please know that it's what I call systemic, meaning that it will cover any part of your body. Your own stem cells activated will go anywhere that your body needs. Remember, you can't direct them. This is not an injection into the shoulder, or bone on bone in my knee, or my low back hurts, herniated disc, I'm going to inject stem cells back there. Nope, can't do that. Your body says, I'm sorry, your liver needs it more, or your kidneys, or your spleen, or I've got to go to your brain. We've got to fix a lot of things going on up in there. You can't direct. And that's why it's really important that you understand the compound effect of using this technology day after day, week after week, month after month, and even year after year. Here's the way I look at it. Time is going by no matter what. I'm either going to get older or I'm going to get younger. I'm going to do everything I can to keep my body young and youthful and functioning correctly. I'm all about prevention and vitality and wellness. That's why I started using these patches, taking my daughter all over the country and out, doing different types of stem cell therapy. I always wanted stem cell injections. I always wanted to do those things for myself, but I could not justify an extra 25 grand twice a year when she needed it more than I did. But I knew for longevity and vitality that stem cells were the way to go. So this gave me the opportunity to be able to use this patch every day, as I still have now a little over 2 years, to be able to not only improve the quality of my life, be able to prevent things from happening, right? Keeping my body in a young, youthful, vital state to help me with longevity. That's what I'm using the patch for. And so no matter what's on your list, I highly recommend you make a list. I call it a grocery list of your problems, your issues, your symptoms, the things you're experiencing that are causing you to not have the best quality of life. Make that list. The person that invited you here is going to send you a health tracker. That health tracker gives you a place to rate yourself in many different categories, at least 20 different categories. Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 so you can kind of see where you are, where you're starting, and map yourself out over the coming days and weeks and months of using this technology. Because what happens on day 1 for you, I don't know. I don't know that you'll feel anything on day 1. Honestly, I didn't feel anything for over 3 weeks. My husband didn't feel anything for a week. And then I had a really good friend that I patched. The first person I patched, she felt something different in 20 minutes. I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're old, if you're young, if you're healthy, if you're not healthy, it matters none. What matters is that you put it on and you understand that from day 1, it is working immediately to do what we say it's doing. You're going to go to startx39now.com later, and you're going to check out all of our clinical studies, and you will be able to see on those clinical studies the claims that I'm making, which is elevating GHK, of course, and helping the body to do the things that I'm talking about: pain reduction, better quality of sleep, more energy, physical energy, faster wound healing, right? Those are things that we see pretty commonly in the first 3 to 6 weeks. Okay, if you experience that on day 1 or day 3 or week 1, wow, Great. Congratulations. Lucky you. And if you don't, that's okay. I didn't either, and it's still working. We don't feel our blood flowing through our veins, thank God. We don't feel our heart pumping everything, the blood, and keeping us breathing. We don't feel those processes, but they're happening, right? We don't feel our lymphatic system draining, or just there's so much happening inside. It's honestly mind-blowing. And thank God we don't have to think about those things, but they're happening. We're grateful they're happening, or you wouldn't be on the planet. And so using this patch, knowing that whether you feel it or not from day one or week one, or even in the first month, it is still working every single day. And of course, we can see this from our clinical studies. Here's what we start to notice around 3 to 6 weeks. We can see improvements in digestion. We can see improvements in your immune system, which of course is where it's housed in your digestive system, right? We can see improvements in your nervous system, your fight or flight mode, you're stressed out, right? You're calm, relaxed, your anxiety. We can see improvements in the cardiovascular system. Around 6 weeks, based on our clinical studies, you can see the entire vascular system starts functioning as if it were 8 weeks younger. So 6 weeks using this patch, not 6 days, okay, but 6 weeks using the patch, not 1 week, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but week 6, there was significant change in the vascular system. And we can see it's functioning as if it were actually 8 weeks younger. How does that happen? Because your body's stem cells go to work to repair and regenerate the areas that are damaged, the areas that are not functioning up to par where they should be. That's what stem cells do. That they're the holy grail of healing. And because, like I said, they're pluripotent, they can go to your heart, they can go to your digestive system, they can go to any area that's needed in the body. If you look at our studies on brain mapping, you look at the brain, we only have one brain, just like we have one heart. You see that around that 8 to 12 week mark, we start to see the brain come into coherence. What does that mean for anxiety, for stress, for emotional well-being, mental well-being? This is not just a physical thing. We have huge testimonials with people sharing how this has given them, even in the first few days, a better level of joy and happiness in their life. I remember one lady said in the first couple of days, she said, I don't understand, but I actually feel like doing my laundry. And I said, okay, is that normal, not normal? And she said, no, you don't get it. I've been dealing with depression. I haven't wanted to get up and do anything, let alone do my own laundry. Now I'm actually putting laundry away. Like, wow, okay, I didn't think about that. That is a very important thing. So using these patches help each person differently. And it's based on what's going on with you. Like I said, your body knows what's going on. It knows how to repair and regenerate itself. And this technology gives you the ability to do that. So how is that happening? How is it doing what I just said, all the things that our clinical studies are showing, and so much more that I haven't even had, obviously, time to go into? Well, David Schmidt is the inventor of this technology. He is the inventor of what's embedded in the white part of this patch. And like I mentioned earlier, it took him 10 years in the lab to figure out how to do this. Can't get my patch right back there in the center, like in the center of this part right here. So anyway, so what is in there? If nothing is entering the body, this is a non-transdermal patch, meaning nothing's entering, then what is in there that is causing our body to reflect back its own light? Well, that is a proprietary blend of organic amino acids, oxygen, water, and sugars. They're molecules, not sugars from your kitchen, not amino acids like I drink every day after my workout. These are molecules that form together a very specific way to form a lattice structure. That crystal lattice structure is embedded in that white part. It's sandwiched between two polymer shells. Remember, it's sticky, right? One side's sticky and the other side is smooth. And so when you put the patch on, we're 98.6 degrees-ish, unless you're here in Florida, and we're about 106 right now at the heat index. And so you put the patch on and our body's light reflects back a wavelength of light off that lattice structure. That wavelength of light elevates the peptide. It's that simple. So nothing's entering the body. No chemical, no substance, no peptides entering the body. No stem cells are entering the body. Please understand that. It is literally just a wavelength of light. Except the beautiful thing is that is proven to elevate that peptide GHK, which we can see elevates our own stem cell production, which in turn helps the body to repair and regenerate itself. It's pretty amazing. Now, how long should we wear the patch? Because I mentioned that compound effect. Well, that's a personal choice. We recommend 1 month for every decade you are old. So if you're in your 30s, 3 months, 40s, 4 months, 50s, 5 months, 60s, 70s, right? Or just stop patching whenever you want to start aging again. Because the compound effect allows your body to get to the root cause of anything and everything on your list. And so when you use the patch up to, let's say you're in your 50s and you use it 5 months, that gives your body the ability to get back up to that full stem cell regeneration point. Now, you'll experience things along the way. I don't know what you're going to experience because I don't know what's going on with you. Right? I don't know what's going on inside of your body. And a lot of you probably don't either. A lot of times when we feel things, when we experience those symptoms, it's been going on for a really long time. You maybe have just ignored it or thought it was the sign of aging or, oh, I'm just forgetting. I'll go back in the room and try to jog my memory again. Or, oh, yeah, it's no big deal if I walk up the steps 1 foot at a time instead of every other foot like I used to. You just kind of dismiss those things. But that is your body's inability to repair and regenerate itself and keep itself young and youthful. So we want to use it to get up to that full stem cell regeneration. And I'll be honest with you, most all people continue patching. And the reason why is because they've crossed off quite a few things on their list during that time, and they're feeling better than they felt in 20, 30, 40 years. Because they have energy, they have vitality, they have mental clarity and focus, like brain fog gone. They're starting to sleep amazing. Or maybe they're like me, I always sleep amazing. But now I go to sleep and I open my eyes in the morning. It's like, where am I? Was I even asleep? Because it's such a deep, deep, deep sleep that you don't even feel yourself even moving or anything in the night, which is fantastic, right? And so the longer you use the patch, the more benefits you will gain from it. That compound effect really kicks in after that 6-month time, and even more so after the 12-month time. How do I know this? Because we can see it from our studies again, right? When we look at bone density and decreasing bone loss, we can see huge improvements at the 12-month mark that we could not see at the 3-month mark, at the 6-month mark. It's astronomical because of that compound effect. When your stem cells start getting the body and the systems and the organs back in alignment, a lot of things start lining up, right? One thing affects the next. There's that biochemical reaction inside of the body. Everything is connected. Not to mention increasing the mitochondria, the ATP on our cells, helping our body, our cells to communicate better on a daily basis, makes everything happen better. So like I said, I don't know what's going to happen for you. I don't know what order it's going to happen. There's no way to tell. There's no way to determine that. But we do know, because of people that have been using this technology now for 4 years, that's how long it's been on the market, we can see the effectiveness of continued use in the types of things that people were experiencing, being able to cross them off their list. At the end of the day, it means improving your quality of life for literally the price of a cup of coffee a day. So you don't have to spend tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars like I did searching for anything and everything. And maybe you've been searching and doing anything and everything like I have. Or maybe you're a guest tonight and this is the first time you've ever heard of this. But know that, like I mentioned earlier, this is backed by science, and not just the last couple years, but 20 years of studies, 20 years of independent labs and doctors and researchers doing clinical studies with people, double-blind placebo from all over the globe with this technology and the other patches that David has invented. And just to give you the quick background, David was actually, well, he's an inventor his entire life. That's what he is. He's a scientist. He's a researcher. Okay. And you can find his bio on startx39now.com if you want to look into him. But as an inventor, he was contracted by the U.S. Department of Defense over 20 years ago. He was working with the SEALs on their mini submission on survival equipment, increasing oxygenation and things like that. things were going so fantastic that they actually asked him to contribute to the problem the SEALs were having with sustainability and energy, endurance, and stamina in the field. You know, they're on caffeine, amphetamines, uppers, days, weeks on end on mission. And so David was downloaded the idea, given the idea, inspired the idea by the creator, by Divine, to create a patch called Energy Enhancer, which is non-transdermal patch that triggers beta oxidation. And that patch was started to be used by the SEALs, and things were going really well. But unfortunately, in 2001, 9/11 happened here in the United States, and our country took a different turn, pulled out of that mini submission to protect our country and bear more arms. So David thought, you know what? This is a fantastic product. I think that really worked, but I need some proof. Right? He's an inventor, he's a scientist, he's a researcher, he wants facts. And so he took this to his good buddy, Richard Quick, who's a 6-time US Olympic coach. And he was working at the Stanford University with the swim team. And so he asked Richard if he would do clinical studies with him and try this on his Olympians and on his athletes. And of course he did. And 2 years later, he had definitive evidence that this was actually doing what he said it was doing to increase the mitochondria, the ATP, those energy centers in the cells, to increase the cells, the light coming out of the cells, to balance the heart rate, to that HRV, to be able to give endurance and stamina and energy in whatever you were doing. And so he started Lifewave almost 20 years ago now. And during the last 20 years, he's invented a dozen different patches that do different things. They have different lattice structures, so they signal different peptides in the body. Like I said earlier, it took him 10 years in the lab to figure out. So during the time, he was inventing other patches that were pretty easy to figure out how to help the body elevate glutathione or carnosine or its own melatonin, right? But this one is his crown jewel, right? The star of the show is the X39 stem cell activation patch, because there's nothing on the market. We have a 20-year patent on this. We're in year 3 of our 20-year patent. There's nothing on the market that activates the body's stem cells with the body's own light in a non-invasive way. You don't have to ingest anything. You don't have to try to absorb or assimilate anything. And believe it or not, I've been asked this a lot here lately. I had a Zoom conversation with David, with one of the cardiologists on my team, Dr. Mario, and we were talking about the use of supplementation. This was not recorded, so please don't ask me for the recording. But we were talking about the use of supplementation with the patches. And David was saying that he has seen from clinical studies, the people that were using supplements while they were using patches, of course, everything they do has to be recorded, that they would receive a 20 to 30% effectiveness, a benefit increase in effectiveness of their supplements they were taking because of the patch, which is pretty amazing. So when you think about other things that you're doing right now, other modalities, other treatments, other therapies, this works perfectly in conjunction with all of those, and actually even helps them to function better, to perform better, to do their job better in your body. And of course, that probably has a lot to do with what this does to healing, repairing, and generating the digestive tract, right? Stem cells do that, like I mentioned in the beginning. And so using other things are perfectly fine. If you are using medications, there are no contraindications. There are no side effects on anything, because nothing's entering the body. Non-transdermal. Take it to your doctor. Ask them, can I use a non-transdermal patch? They're probably going to be like, yeah, sure, whatever, go for it. And then when you come back and they retest your blood work, or they look at your teeth, or they recheck your eyes or your ears, they're going to go, what are you doing? What are you using? I need to know right now. I talk to people every single day that have their results. They have their scans, they have their tests, and their doctors all say the same thing. I don't know what you're using, but I don't know. I got a text message from Alicia yesterday, and she was the first person that my friend Laura reached out to that has amazing testimonial. She's 2 years now from using the patches, and she had to go every 6 months for her scans, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, every 6 months, CT scans, blood work every 3 months for the last 8 years. 2 years using the patch. Well, I'll say this, 3 months using the patch, I believe it was 90 days using the patch. And she was able to, her doctor say, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm going to see you next year. Okay. So she came back, here comes a year later, Perfect. Everything looks amazing on her scans. The doctor says, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't want to see you for 2 years. Now, how do you go from every 6 months getting CT scans and blood work and tests so consistently? You're not even getting the R word because you don't ever get that type of cancer in remission. How does that happen? How did she get a doctor, an oncologist that says, I don't want to see you for 2 years? I've never seen anything like this happen in my life, but just keep doing what you're doing. That's powerful. That's life-changing, right? And so please know that, again, we're not making any claims that this is treating or curing anything, but when you get the body in balance, when you provide it the tools to get the body in balance, the body wants to repair itself. It wants to regenerate itself. So know that this technology is safe, it's effective, it's obviously very affordable, and it will work for whatever is going on with you as long as you give it time. Please don't think this is a quick fix. This is not, I gained 50 pounds over the last 2 years and I want to lose it in 30 days. Or I've had chronic inflammation and pain and sciatica and all this stuff for 18 years and I want it gone in 2 days. Be realistic and be patient and know that over time you will see the results. One last thing I want to mention before I answer your questions: water. It is so important that you stay hydrated. Water is critical to your life. You know, you can go without food. You can't go without water. You're going to die. And most people don't like water. Unfortunately, you can see my water has limes in it. I like limes. I like lemons. If you don't like the taste of water, I recommend you get a really good clean water. We have an RO system. You probably don't like the flavor of your water because it's pretty toxic. Let's be honest. So get yourself a good clean source of water, or create a good clean source of water, whatever it is. If you don't like the flavor, put fruit in it. Strawberries, soak in strawberries overnight, soak it in pineapple, soak it in lemons or limes or grapefruit or oranges, soak it in mint. Somebody just mentioned cucumber, whatever you need to do. But your goal is to drink half your body weight in ounces every day. That's your goal. If you're consuming coffee or caffeinated drinks or alcohol, you are dehydrating yourself. Now, I mentioned earlier that your cells shrink as you age. We know that. That's part of the aging process. That's why it's really important when we look at the mitochondria, the size of the cell, the energy, the light coming off of the cell, to be able to have cellular communication. This light technology works with your cells, and it needs water for conductivity because your cells are light, trillions of cells of light. We need the water for conductivity. So your goal is to get to half your body weight in ounces. If you are not consuming that now, work your way up to it. But remember, every cup of coffee or every pot of coffee, every cup of coffee, you need to drink at least another 8 to 10 ounces of water. Every glass of wine or alcoholic drink, another 8 to 10 ounces of water, so that your body stays hydrated. You will feel so much better when you have water in your body. I promise you, you will. And you'll also get better results with this technology because you are consuming the water. Now, one other thing I want to mention, I'm real big on electrolytes. Get yourself some Celtic sea salt. If you're using pink Himalayan, make sure it's clean, but get yourself some Celtic sea salt. Put a pinch in your water, or maybe a crystal or two on your tongue before you drink that glass of water, to help pull the water into the cells and into the tissues. Celtic sea salt is over almost 90 different trace minerals that your body needs. And so that will help to pull the water into the tissues. It's not salt. Celtic sea salt is not salt, just salt. That's not what it is at all. It's many different trace minerals and minerals. So being able to get that water into your cells where it's needed is super important. So I recommend everyone be doing that. We know about 90% of the people are deficient in potassium. That's because you're consuming the wrong kind of salt, which is typically from processed packaged foods and canned and frozen foods that are full of sodium. So that's not the type of salt I'm talking about. Also, we know that about 70% of people are deficient in magnesium, and magnesium is vital when you look at your brain, when you look at your digestive tract, your muscles, your connective tissues. So it's really important that you are getting those electrolytes. Celtic is C-E-L-T-I-C, like Celtic sea salt. We can get off Amazon, big blue bag. I buy it in the pound size bag and have it, just fill up my little shaker and use that. Just put a little crystal of it on your tongue before you drink your glass of water. It's going to make a huge difference in how you feel, how your body functions, and also be able to help your patches work more effectively. So with that, I know we've got quite a few questions in the chat, so I do want to answer those. Just keep in mind, if you do have a question, I won't be referencing any diseases or syndromes, but you're probably going to ask me about some different things that are going on with you, and I'll share possibly other patches outside of just the X39. So whenever we talk about, someone's asking about a rupture in the groin of the aorta. So I'm obviously not a medical doctor at all. So I would check with their physician, have them check with their physician to see if it would be okay with them to use the X39. Not going to say it's going to, we don't have a protocol for that. Okay. I know you guys like to hear about protocols. We don't have a protocol for a ruptured aorta in the groin, but X39, obviously stem cells can do whatever the body needs to repair. So that would be fantastic. She's taking a supplement to increase and wants to know if she needs that once she begins X39 and Eon. I would never recommend you stop taking any of your supplements that you're taking. You're obviously taking them for a reason. Someone recommended them, your practitioner. So I would keep using what you're using. You mentioned Eon. Eon is a fantastic patch. It's my second favorite patch to the X39. This patch reduces inflammation in the body, which is huge. When you look at the repair and regeneration process, stem cells are consumed by inflammation. So it's really important we bring those inflammatory markers down. And Eon does that. It also helps put the body in that calm parasympathetic state that I talked about earlier. That's a better state for the body to repair and regenerate itself. So definitely those are my two favorite patches. When you look at the skin, okay, so I would definitely use your X39 and your Eon. Because again, anything in the body, anything that's out of balance, we know inflammation is the root cause of disease. So we want to get down to the root. We know that stem cells are going to repair and regenerate in whatever order they need, which is going to help get down to the root cause. So using these two 100%. We know that also aloe vera is fantastic for the skin. Aloe vera is promoted as our reverse aging, repair and regeneration for the skin. But also understand it does a lot more than that. Aloe vera is a nighttime patch only. You can put it on before bedtime. It helps increase your melatonin a little bit. It does help improve cognition somewhat. And the reason why is because it's activating a peptide in your pineal gland, which is in the center of your brain. But aloe vera reduces oxidative stress and inflammatory stress. And when you look at the skin, your skin is your largest organ. Things are always trying to detox out of your skin if they're not being able to detox out of your body correctly. We eliminate toxins through our urine, through our breath, and through our stool. And so if those things are not happening, if you're not exerting yourself, getting your heart rate up, breathing, in an elevated state, if you're not having 2 to 3 bowel movements a day and having plenty of urination throughout the day, then your body's not able to eliminate toxins. So it's going to come out of the skin. So if you look at the skin and you're not happy with it, definitely X39, Eon, and aloe vera. I've seen a statement to use one's leftover patch on your pet. Can you use it a second day on yourself, or does it lose its efficacy? Great question. Yep, we always say when you take your patch off, throw it away or put it on your pet. Put it in your pet bed if you have a pet that needs a little extra boost. The reason why we say that is because we are almost 100 degrees. And when you have this patch on all day long, 12 hours, your body is communicating with the patch. The patch comes off. You need a break. You need a 12-hour break for your body to repair and regenerate. But that lattice structure starts to dissipate around that 12 to 14-hour mark. So yes, it may provide a little bit of benefit for your pet, but after that, it's done. So no, it is not going to be able to provide you benefits the next day. If you patch the next day, I would not expect to see any results at all if you continue to patch with used patches. Again, we know this from clinical studies. David has done every scenario. His doctors and researchers around the globe have done all the different situations. The patches are to be worn 12 hours on and give your body a 12-hour break, and you are to apply a new patch the next day. That's how we show the results that we do from the patches. So definitely not something you would reuse. So put the X39 on in the morning. Does the same hold true for the Eon? This is a great question. Eon is a patch that you can use daytime or nighttime. It's your personal choice. I always use mine during the day. Some people like to use theirs at night. The reason why you would use it at night, a lot of people have what we call monkey mind. Their mind is go, 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 go nonstop, and they can't shut that off for bedtime. Now, Eon is not a sleep patch. If you need help with sleep, you need Silent Nights. That's the patch for you. But Eon helps, like I said earlier, bring your body into that parasympathetic state, calm, rest, relaxed, digest state. We call it our happy patch. So if you put this patch on at night, put it below your belly button. That's the triple warmer spot in traditional Chinese acupuncture. So that's a spot that helps to calm and relax the body. So put the Eon patch at night if you need help kind of shutting your monkey mind off and relaxing. But honestly, you know, sleep practices are super important. Get off the screen, get off the phone, get off the TV. Don't do anything in bed. You go to bed to go to bed. You don't go to bed to watch TV or read books or have conversations or whatever else, right? Go to bed, you go to bed, that's it. No food, at least 3 hours before bed. No liquids a couple hours before bed. Cold room, dark room. Make sure that you are doing the correct things for proper sleep. But Eon is a fantastic thing to add to that routine if your mind just keeps going, right? As far as the health tracker checklist, if you go to startx39biz.com and click on the 14 steps to success, you'll be able to find it down there in one of those steps. I can't remember which number it is off the top of my head. So someone says they've been having a sleep disorder for about 8 years. They're taking a couple different serious medications in order to fall asleep. And they're using X39, Eon, and glutathione during the day, Alavita with Dream spray at night for over a month. Do you have any recommendations she can try? So we never recommend anyone stop any of their medications at any time. Have a conversation with your doctor. Let them know your goal is to get off these medications. They're extreme toxins. That's what medications are. They're man-made toxins. There's nothing natural about them. They have serious side effects. All of them do, right? You don't get a drug from the drugstore prescription, whatever, without a list of side effects because of the toxicity in them. And so I would definitely have that conversation with the physician that's prescribing the meds. Let them know you're using some non-transdermal, some types of things to help get off the meds. Obviously, she should definitely be using Silent Nights. Absolutely. Silent Nights, Dream, Alavita, those are all amazing to use in the evening time, and the patches during the day are amazing as well too. And I obviously just mentioned some really good sleep practices, so I would make sure they are doing those. The biggest thing, and I think the hardest thing for people, is their phone or their TV. They don't want to put the phone down or their iPad down. They don't want to turn the TV off. They don't want to give themselves some quiet time to just, be with yourself in silence, or maybe even just relax and read a book on the couch before you go to bed. The bed should be for bed. That's it. Right? If you're married, then obviously you can have a partner, do whatever. But you know what I'm saying? The bed is for sleeping. It is not for reading. It is not for watching TV. It is not for laying in and just relaxing. It should be for sleep. And if you sleep train yourself that way, like most of you sleep trained your children, you didn't put your infant to bed and have the TV on, right? You didn't do that. You put him to bed and it was bed. You sleep train your kid. So sleep train yourself. It really works. It really does. Tell yourself, I'm done. I'm out. I'm going to bed. At least that's what I've always done my whole life. I need my sleep. It's important. It's a huge part. Actually, they've done so many studies on sleep. It's probably the most important thing of all your healthcare practices, all of them. Next to water, sleep is probably the most important, because your body getting into sleep can repair and regenerate itself. And you know what you feel like when you don't get a good night's sleep. You're tired, you're grouchy, you're angry, you're irritable, you're snappy. You don't get things done. You don't have enough energy, mental energy, physical energy. It's huge. And about 70% of the population don't get a good night's sleep. So it's really important. So I would definitely use the X39, the Eon, the Alavita, the Silent Nights, and of course the Dream spray is incredible. I'd use the Shine in the morning. The Shine helps to get you going, increase your oxytocin, right? Get your happy, feel good energy. Does the temperature inside the body affect the patch? So we are about 98.6. So that is what is communicating with that patch, the light or the heat that we are emitting. So I'm not really for sure what you mean by affect the patch, but that's how the patch works. What about the effectiveness when it's wet? Shower, swimming, sweat. Great question. So remember when I said the patches were created for the Navy SEALs? Those guys swim. Navy, submarine missions, right? And then, of course, it went on to the Stanford University swim team, the USA Olympic swim team. I would definitely feel 100% confident in telling you, you can shower in them, you can swim in them, and you can sweat in them. Now, if they happen to fall off, for example, my son went golfing the other day and he came back, I was like, where are your patches? He had energy enhancer on, he had on some glutathione, some carnosine, X39, Eon, actually, he had all of those on. Some of them fell off and he's like, it was just too sweaty, too hot. Well, the heat index down here is 106. He played 18 holes of golf. And I said, well, what'd you do with them? He said, they're in my pocket. I said, well, they're still working. As long as they're in your pocket, they're still coming in, in close contact with your body, they're still working perfectly fine. So if you need to put a Band-Aid on them, you can definitely do that. I've got athletes that are out in the sun for their sports, like girls, and they'll do Band-Aids around their sports bras. They'll put energy enhancer, white right, tan left, and they'll Band-Aid them around the sports bras. Some of them will put them on the insides in their socks, like a lot of my marathon runners, instead of the inside of the ankles, because they'll slide off. They just go ahead and stick them right down there in their socks, in their shoes, and they stay perfectly fine. They had a study quoted during COVID where people on the patches for 6 months showed reverse biomarkers 8.5 years. So the words have been removed from the what to expect. So according to our information from speaking with David, we cannot claim that we are reversing age like in that way with the patches. That study has not been revealed at this time. And so even though David did say it, which was 2 years ago at an event in California, Lee and I were at that event. We heard that plain as day and wrote that down. That is not a clinical study that's been published. And so we're not able to make that claim on that document anymore. We verified it with David. I have the email from him to make sure we weren't saying anything that was, because we never could get the study. And he said, at this time, we are not publishing that study. We are not sharing that information. So we do not want to make that claim. But we do know from our own personal experiences, right, Leah, Laura, myself, and many others, that using the patches, we have seen a reversal in our biological, our cellular age versus our biological age by looking at our biomarkers. So someone said they are on medicine again at night, patching for 7 months. How long? I've never been on sleep medicine. She's asking how long it took to get off. I've never been on sleep medication. So, and I don't know how long it would take you to get off the sleep medication. There's no way for me to determine that, unfortunately. Here's the thing you have to remember with this. This is not a drug. This is not a medicine where we can say, if you take this pill, it's going to reduce this number by X amount of numbers in X amount of days. Or it's going to take this many days to get up to your loading dose to where it's going to produce this kind of result. It's not a drug. It doesn't work that way. And when you understand what regeneration means, regenerative medicine says, I'm going to regenerate, I'm going to repair the functionality of this system or this organ in the body so that it is functioning the way it should be in perfect order. There's no time frame that we can put on that because everyone's variables are different. What are you eating? Are you consuming the right and correct amount of water? Are you staying hydrated with electrolytes? Do you get good sleep? Are you eating toxic foods? Do you, have any kind of exercise activity? There's so many variables to the human body. And I'm not saying the patches determine those variables. What I'm saying is, I can't say that your results are going to be the same as the person next to you's results as far as time frame wise, because everybody has different stress levels. God, think about that. Emotional, mental stress, that's huge when you look at the disease process in the body. So you can have Sally sitting here with XYZ situation and condition, and you can have Becky sitting next to her with the exact same situation and condition. One of them has a stressful job, can't stand their boss, going through a divorce. One kid's strung out, the other one's estranged. She's trying to raise another one at home by her own, and the other one lives a perfect life. Which one do you think is going to get faster results? Which one do you think is going to see more improvements in their quality of life? The one that has all this mental, emotional stress, or the one that doesn't have that emotional, mental stress and she's living a really happy life? We know that stress is huge. which is why it's really important when you're using the patches, use that Eon. Bring down that level of stress, right? That anxiety. Use the patches for an extended period of time. We can see what it does in the brain to bring the brain and the heart into coherence. Super important. So let's answer. We've got a few more questions here. We got a little bit more time. I love how you guys are giving suggestions on water. We have not published any clinical studies on COVID or vaccine. They have been done. I've seen some of them. David shared some slides here recently from some of them, but we have, for obvious reasons, not published them. We want David to be around a really long time, and this is not a safe place, unfortunately, right now in this country for people who speak the truth. It's just, we've seen too many really good doctors and practitioners in the holistic world die, supposedly from heart attacks or suicide, but because they had really good information that would help people improve their quality of life. So those studies are not published. Do you have a link to your friend's testimonial? Which Laura? Which one? I'm not for sure which one. Remind me of which friend. I've just talked about a lot of people tonight. Salt. I already spelled that one. When you're using Icewave, can both patches be placed on the same side in the same area where the pain exists? So I want you to go to YouTube and I want you to type in Lifewave Icewave. Icewave is our pain patch. It gets rid of pain on the spot. It's a 2-patch system. It uses a white patch and a tan patch. They can be moved around a lot of different ways. So go there. David's done 5 different videos. They're only like 5 minutes each. Watch those videos so you can move those patches around for you to where you can open up your own energy channels with the patches, and pain is stuck energy. So play around with it. Everyone's different. Sometimes you just put white right, tan left, and poof, the pain's gone. And other times you do have to move them around on the same side of the body, that clockwise method. So watch those videos. So what do you think is happening when people who say they aren't experiencing any improvement with the technology? Time. We have 20% of the people that it takes 3 to 6 months before they feel anything. 6 months. 20% of the people will take almost 6 months before they feel anything, before they notice any differences, right? Bob Campbell's the prime example for that. Nothing until month 7. He almost gave up. He almost quit. Now here he is over 2.5 years later, crossed everything off of his list. Massive list. Go listen to his testimonial. It's huge. Right, Dr. Harmon, right branch bundle block. Like, you don't get rid of that. There's no surgery, nothing to treat that. 7 months in, wasn't 4, wasn't 3, wasn't 5. It was 7 months in. Whew, cardiologist, like, there's no explanation. No way this goes away. So time, give it time. Please be patient. This is regenerative medicine. Ask them to Google regenerative medicine and understand that repair and regeneration is going to take place over time. This is not a quick fix. If I told you this would fix all your problems in 30 days or 60 days, you should run. You really should. You should be very skeptical. The fact that I'm telling you to give this 6 to 12 months, 18 months, you should say, okay, this is the real deal. My body's actually going to repair itself. It's actually going to get it to the root cause of all the issues going on. That's what I want. That's what I've been searching for. Something that will do that. We only have time. That's it. We're going to get older or younger. And so I recommend you get younger. I recommend you, take care of yourself. You're important. Okay. So as far as the Icewave goes on time, you can use it as long as you want. Doesn't matter. I would definitely be using the X39 and Eon to get to the root of the problem, obviously, but you can use Icewave as long as you want, as needed, and any location you want as well too. When we look at the eyes, we use the X39 and Eon, of course, like everything, but we also use carnosine. When we look at the bowels, the digestive system, X39 Eon, SB6 is amazing for the digestive system. I would definitely use that as well too. Mom started using X39 a few days ago. Everything's going well, other than she's extra hungry. I don't know why. Is she having her period? I don't know. I get hungry when I'm on my cycle. Is she menopausal? I have no idea. Is she stressed? The patch does not cause you to be hungry. I have no idea why someone would be hungry. There's a lot of variables in that. How does the patch differ from red light therapy? So red light therapy, you have to go somewhere, get therapy. You have to go get the red light, have the laser, buy the laser. You have to put it where you want it, use it, or maybe you have to hop in a red bed, you know, those $100,000 red light therapy beds. You have to have it's an outside light source coming in a wide band. And so this is a patch, you put it on, it reflects back your body's own light, and that light is entering your body instantly. And I don't have to go anywhere or do anything. And it signals a very specific peptide, where red light therapy is not signaling a very specific peptide that triggers a chain reaction in the body to activate the body's own stem cells. Very, very different. Burning, redness, soreness, numbness, stinging, can't walk or stand long, hardly clean, feet and hands and patches. What do I need? So I would use the X39 and Eon, of course. I would use Icewave on the bottoms of your feet, if these are your feet. That K1 spot, which is on the balls of the feet, I would put your Icewave right here on these. And you can put another set of Icewave somewhere else if you would like to, maybe on your wrist down here if your hands are numb and tingling, things like that. I would use those patches. If you purchase the YH system, which is the X39, the Eon, the glutathione, and the carnosine, would I wear them all at the same time or alternate? You know, that's a personal choice. I would always wear X39 and Eon no matter what. If you have anything going on, heart, brain, muscle, connective tissue, organs, anything like that, I recommend carnosine every single day. I love carnosine. I think it's a patch everyone should wear every single day, no matter what. The instruction booklet will tell you 1 to 3 times a week. That's because, you know, it was created for the recovery for fitness for athletes when we first started doing the research on it, obviously years and years ago. And of course, since I've seen a lot of other improvements of carnosine with cognition, improving the brain, the function, right brain, left brain balancing, communication, it's huge. There's not a day I would go without carnosine. Glycation process in the pancreas, keeping your blood sugar in check. But also, you know, with glutathione is the master antioxidant. It's the master detoxer, master immune booster. And we know X39 elevates your glutathione level by 30%. Now the patch is going to elevate it 300% and sustain it for a 24-hour period. So, you know, sometimes it's best to start a little slower with glutathione, especially if you're on medications, like I mentioned, are extremely toxic. And glutathione being the master detoxer, you might have some detox symptoms. It's not the glutathione patch. It's your body's ability to detox, right? It wants to get the toxins out. This is the last thing I'm going to say on detox, but your body is like a car. If you never change the oil in your car is not going to function correctly. So your body is like the car. We need to change the oil. We need to detox. Most people don't detox. They're scared to detox, so they just never do. So all that toxicity builds up over time from your personal care products, your cleaning products, from the food you're eating, the environment, the water, stress, all of that. So I would do glutathione, you know, every other day, every third day, starting out. See how you do. If you find that you're experiencing maybe a little headache or nausea or maybe a little tired, you need more water. That's how you eliminate detox symptoms from your body trying to eliminate the toxins. Just add more water. You'll be fine. You want to get the toxins out. Trust me. The reason why you feel the way you do now is because you are toxic. That's it. The root cause, when you look at the inflammation in the body, it is a buildup of toxicity. Fungus, parasites, mold, heavy metals, candida, just toxicity. We've got to get that stuff out. When we look at patching pups, I would definitely do the X39 and the Eon. Of course, would be great for them as well too. Glutathione does not work to suppress cravings or sugar. Doesn't do that at all. We look at SP6. SP6 is the one that boosts your metabolism and suppresses your appetite because it works with your endocrine system. So if I did not get your questions answered tonight, please get back with the person that invited you. They can help get your questions answered. Everyone here is connected to someone that has been utilizing this technology for quite some time now. So we can help you to be able to make sure you get your questions answered. And of course, please go to startx39now.com, look at the videos, look at the research, listen to David, and hear what others have to say on how this technology has helped to change their life and improve their quality of life. So thank you all for being here this evening. I will see you next week. Next Tuesday, I will be interviewing a chiropractor, Dr. Dana, and she is a professional in the industry, obviously, and she's going to share a lot of great information and insight as a chiropractor and how she uses this in her technology. And the Tuesday after that, I'm going to be interviewing our famous Dr. Harmon, who is also a chiropractor and a brain doctor. And so he is going to be sharing his expertise in using this technology as well within his realm and scope of practice. So tune in the next 2 weeks as I interview 2 new doctors that you've probably never heard of before, or maybe not seen their information. And we're going to be able to help you learn a little bit more and understand more. So thank you guys. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you soon.